Today on Rock'N Blues Revue, we welcome Sam and Ryan, the Weber brothers, one of the most dynamic, fun, and exciting groups on either side of the border. And it's great to see you guys here today. How's it going?
It's going well. Nice to be here.
Going good, Bob.
Yeah, glad to see you again. Um, and as mentioned just before we come on the air, that we're going to be talking about a big show you guys got coming up, and that is on January 10th.
Yes.
Clifford Brewing Company, yes. Looking forward to it very much.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's something you wanted to do for a long time. So how did it finally get off the ground?
We played recently at Henry's on James in Hamilton, and we met a guy there, Ron Ferroni, who's a promoter in the Hamilton area, I think longtime promoter. And he said he's been wanting to do a Ronnie tribute for a long, long time as well. And so we just kind of got to talking about it. I forget when we did that Henry's on James, not long ago, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And he said, yeah, well, let's do it this January. And it happens to be January 10th is Ronnie's birthday. And it happens to fall on a Saturday this year, to be on a Saturday. So that's kind of how it all came together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the venue.
we played with Ronnie for over 20 years. So after he crossed the Great River, been waiting for somebody to kind of put a big tribute on. And so glad it's happening.
Yeah, you
And
guys are certainly the guys to do that. And for people who don't know, can you just give us a little history of how it all came about in the first place? Ryan?
well, I mean, it started. We watched The Last Waltz um, pretty much every night, kind of in high school. It was really a major thing. We did pretty much every day, and on kind of on a whim. And this is early internet days. We said, well, let's see if Ronnie Hawkins has a website, and he did. And there was an email on the website, so we sent an email, just said, we're big fans. We think you're great. We'd love to meet you someday if we could. And actually got a response and said, yeah, well, come up at any time. And so we were like, okay, let's go. And we left pretty much as fast as we could. I think you were still in high school
I
or
would have
just
been
out.
I would have been 17 at the time. And that would have been 25 years ago, almost to the day. We drove up in December in the middle of a blizzard, showed up at Ronnie's place at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Strange time to show up at anybody's place. But then met him and we set up our gear in his barn and played for him, played some music. And he sat in and sang a couple songs with us, and just meeting him was quite the experience.
He took us in, like we showed up at about 6 a.m. and he
Really?
took us in for the next 20 years. Showed us more things than we could have dreamed of. He really was the best, or kind of the most amazing teacher and mentor and friend we could have hoped for.
Yeah, I can imagine you wanting to go meet him and visit and all that, but how did you end up actually moving? What motivated that?
Well, as Sam was saying, we played for him in the barn, and over that week that we stayed with him, and then we went back home. But we kind of stayed in touch. We called back, and one of the times we called back, he said something like, "I wish you boys would come on back up here. I got some jobs for you." We didn't know what that meant, but it was kind of like if he calls, if he wants you there, you go. That's how we felt at the time, and so we did. And slowly we kind of began this boot camp process that he had, the 90-day rock and roll boot camp, which entailed a lot of things. It was really, I always think of it kind of like testing how much we wanted it. And we had to sort of prove ourselves musically and otherwise. Because he always used to say, the lifestyle ain't for sissies. I think he wanted to see how much we really wanted it. So you do the 90 days, and then gradually we were able to come to some gigs and sort of sit at the side stage for some gigs, and then slowly joined the band. And then we were full-fledged members of the Hawks after that for about the next 20 years.
Yeah, he had some nice things to say about you, and so did Garth Hudson. But on the other side of that coin, you guys, you created a new revived version of the Hawks. Do you allow yourselves time to sit back and just savor that? Sam?
Mm.
I do savor it. every day I'm so grateful for that. Like I didn't know what a professional band sounded like or how that worked or what kind of discipline it takes to really become a tight act. And just to be around Ronnie and his band at the time. Remember when we were just sitting in his barn when we were just allowed to watch rehearsals without even playing. They counted off a song and started playing, and it was just, man, these guys sound great.
It was thrilling.
Yeah. How do we become part of that? And yes, I count my blessings every day that we were able to, you know, receive the lessons that he gave.
Yeah, I think that's you should, because carrying that on, that legacy, and there's with the band and Ronnie and all that stuff. I mean, I had Bob Margolin as a guest a few weeks ago, and
Wow, awesome.
yeah, and he was super impacted by that show as well. And it was one of the great events, rock and roll events ever. So I can understand someone getting motivated, but you guys certainly took it to the next level.
Right.
Well,
Well, why not?
yeah. And things opened up that allowed us to do it. It just kind of came together in just the right way. And Ronnie was at the helm. He really was.
Yeah. Well, you certainly got the talent for it too. I mean, you said you
And
were
the look.
young. Sorry.
And the looks.
Yeah.
Most
Well, you
important.
He
got,
definitely got the looks
well,
for it.
you know what? That is important. I think a lot of guys miss that. A lot of bands miss that. But no, you've got the talent, and you mentioned how young you were. And so how long had you been playing before you got the bug them to go out and try this?
Sam started playing guitar at 9, and I got a bass soon after because we couldn't find anybody in the town we lived, Westminster, Maryland. We couldn't find anybody our age that played bass, and so it's kind of like we didn't really know what a bass did, but we knew all bands that we loved had a bass player, and so it was like, well, I'll go for bass. So I would have been about 12, I guess, when I started on that, and we played a lot. We from then on we really played a lot, kind of all through high school, and played any kind of gig we could find, backyard parties or pool parties. Um, so we've been playing for, I don't know, 6 years, 5, 6 years before the
Right,
whole
right,
meeting.
right. And you guys play more than one instrument.
Yeah,
Try to. Yeah.
can make a sound on anything.
Yeah, well, so could I, but I wouldn't call it music. All right. So again, the show is set January 10th at Clifford Brewing in Hamilton. And do you guys have any specific expectations for that show?
Well, all we can really expect is what we're going to bring. That's the only one that we have kind of control over. And as I was mentioning, we've been wanting to do a Ronnie tribute. We got to do one other one in Kitchener last
Right?
summer or 2 summers ago. So we kind of have a thought of what we're going to do, and really kind of we're going to try and through the music uh, show the story of our time with Ronnie and the songs that we kind of did and when we first got up to meet him, and that's our only expectation.
Yeah. It is a great chance to revisit some of his old songs, his set list, because we played with him so many times over the years, and you really don't hear his kind of music that much anymore. So it's just a great honor to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, we'll be there. And I've got a friend who just loves Ronnie, and he's unfortunately in Florida. So that'll give me something to lord over him for a while. So thank you for that.
Maybe we zoom him in.
Oh, no, he's screwed. I'm sorry.
No, you're out.
So we should mention that the Triple Tones are opening, and they're a rockabilly band from Hamilton.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fantastic. That music is right up Ronnie's alley.
That's
That's what he
really,
always loved the most.
yeah. Anything past the 50s, Ronnie would, he's kind of like, oh, I don't know, baby.
Yeah,
But he
yeah,
loved rockabilly sound. That was really so dear to his heart because he's one of the originators of it.
right.
When you get down to it, he's one of those first guys that made that music a style.
Yeah, no question. Now you guys do rockabilly, you do blues, you do roots, you do rock and roll. Uh, do you
I don't know what we
conscious,
do.
but do you consciously maintain the diversity?
Yeah. Um, Ronnie was all about that too. Anything that touched him or anything that had soul, I think he loved. Ray Charles and Chuck Berry were kind of like those were his guys that he really looked up to, and the songs that he really loved. And so both those guys have all those elements in their music too, from gospel to country and that's, I think, what rockabilly is. It's a melding of all those styles of the time.
Right. And so is it important to you guys to make sure that you're not pigeonholed in one genre?
Uh, I, I, I don't know if it's important or if it's just kind of natural. We are the same way that you try not to control, or me anyway. I try not to control what comes, whatever comes and sparks things, sparks a song or sparks me. I'm not gonna stop it because it's like, oh, that's not rockabilly.
Right.
That is limiting.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because almost everyone I've talked to over the last year has mentioned, you know, going with the flow and not sticking to one thing. And I think that's a change from the past. And people were kind of picking on people. Oh, that's not blues, that's not, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's past.
Well, I think that a lot of that would have been like record company would have been telling you
Right.
how it's got to sound and what it's got to be, and there an element of that I think is important for whatever it is your audience, but the audience, it's it's good to not limit them as well. They can be broad as well, and like a lot of things,
Right. Yeah. I think most of them do too.
they do. Yeah.
But
Right.
there is always that element of, purists in any kind of music say this is how it's done and you should stay between the lines. But, I just say, do whatever feels good. You're always going to wind up sounding like yourself anyway, so do whatever moves you.
Yeah. And I think like you just mentioned a second ago that, you've totally blurred the lines and so people can't do that to you. They know,
Yeah.
they know what they're going to get. And your albums are diverse too. And, you've got some different sounds that are, uh, for different days, different moods. And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, we all have, I think, the whole run of emotions. Everybody has them within themselves. So yeah, like you
Right.
say, different tune, different moods. Why not reflect it all?
Sure. And I think you guys do that really well.
Oh, thanks, man.
And you mentioned Chuck Berry a minute ago, and so most of us laymen cannot imagine, appearing with superstars as peers. So what was it like for you guys to be at the rock and roll tribute to Chuck Berry in Cleveland with all those other superstars?
An incredible honor, just unbelievable. The the opportunity to be around people that you've idolized your whole life, just it's really hard to describe. Just very, very powerful. Seeing them in person, like, wow, that's a real person, not just the guy on the record. But it
Right.
was just incredible. Like Chuck Berry in particular, for the finale of that show, we all got to play rock and roll music with Chuck Berry. It was like, wow, this is crazy, man. But he was by far, and this is in a good way, the loudest guitar I've ever heard in my life.
Really? Eh?
Indescribable.
Yeah, there's 20 guitars on stage, because massive Bill, all those guys were there. Everybody's playing guitar, but Chuck's volume was like blasted anybody else's away. That's the only one you heard. And it was just like, it was real. It was rock and roll to the core. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I've seen a lot of loud rock shows. We all have, but this was just a different level,
It
a
shook the room.
completely different level. And it wasn't just the volume per se; it was also the power and who was playing that guitar. Just completely unbelievable.
Yeah, that guitar changed the world.
Yeah, well, for sure. And the people on that show are, like I said, I can't even imagine, Merle Haggard, Rick Derringer, Joe Bonamassa, uh, Chuck Berry himself, of course, DMC. Like, wow, that's just a few of them.
Absolutely. Well, we sound checked right after Merle Haggard, so we were close enough when he was doing his sound check to kind of just be hearing his voice, not through the mic, not through the speaker, like just hearing him like in the same room. That's how kind of close we were. That's another one of those special what's going on moments, because his voice is one that changed the world too. And being, I don't know, that up close to that sound that we've loved so long, that will hit the heart, and it did.
And it's funny too, that sort of what we're talking about now ties into the, I guess, inclusivity and just various genres being available. Like, look at that show. It's a tribute to Chuck Berry, but you got DMC, who's hip hop, Merle Haggard, who's country. You had Lemmy from Motorhead, just
Right.
all these different people that, drew from the well of rock and roll that Chuck Berry created.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
And in the past, you've worked with other guys too. I mean, Gordon Lightfoot, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
What kind of, everyone talks about, what they can learn from these people, but can you give us an idea of the kind of things that you can pick up from those kind of associations?
Sure. I think everyone is different. Like Ronnie, for instance, we start with Ronnie. A lot of people might not know or not think about him as such a kind of a taskmaster when it came to the sound. Like, he was pretty particular, and he really wanted things tight. So you would not really think of him that way, or I don't think a lot of people do, but he was extreme about rehearsal, extreme about tightness, about when you come up, when you come down on a song. Like, story of him with the band in the 50s is he would get them to, they'd play their show, and then he'd get them to set up their stuff after the gig and practice then. That's one of the big things picked up from Ronnie, is like practice every day, practice and play every day, and get a tight sound. That's one, like, from Ronnie. From Gordon Lightfoot, I would say he was that way about recordings. And when he came in and we were recording songs, he was so exact and so particular. And one of the stories we tell a lot is we were doing a version of Me and Bobby McGee, and at the end we were doing the la 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 part, la 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 la, and it was like a gang sing. There was like 10 people singing it. So it's just, when you think about what sound that's supposed to be or going to be, it's going to be like a big ensemble thing. And so we're just kind of doing that. And we go through one time and Gordon stops it. He's like, stop. Somebody's getting off on that second la. And we were like, okay, which one? He's like, it should be obvious.
Wow.
In charge. Definitely.
So it's like, yeah, it's fun, it's fun making music. That's what it's all about. That's number one. But there's also a discipline to it. And I would say from all those guys you name, they all had that, and they all wanted that around them, and they all instilled that.
Yeah, and I remember Gordon Lightfoot saying, they were talking about, why he was had such a successful career. And he said, I think it boils down to, I was really good at enunciating.
Mm.
It's like such a simple thing, but it's like, of course, you can have the most amazing lyrics in the world, but if people don't clearly understand them, then you're sort of behind the eight ball. Just simple things like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would definitely be a different approach for him than people who don't necessarily worry about that.
Yes.
And
It's
so,
got it sharply delivered.
right. And you take those kind of things forward with you?
Definitely. I think if you're, it's the same as, say you listen to a lot of stuff, whatever you're listening to at the time. If you're really engaged with that, that's just going to automatically stick with you. And then it's going to come out, I think, in your own playing and in your own thing. When you're actually around a person, you're playing with them, that's going to naturally happen too. Things they say to you that really hit, or things that they play or sing or do, that's going to stick with you. And it's just going to naturally come out, whether you are conscious of doing that or not. I think it's going to just be with you. And then it's a matter of honoring those gifts that they've given you. You know, it's a matter of honoring that thing that they've shown you. And that is something that you got to get up for and you got to deliver on, you know, and that's what I think we aim to do every day.
Well, I have to say that, of all the bands we had over the years, and there was many, we had about 33 bands a year for almost 20 years, and then Battlefield on top of that. And of all those bands, I would have to say that you guys seemed the most intense, focused before the show.
Mm.
What do you attribute that to?
Nerves.
Seriously.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, it's like important to put on a great show for the people. You know, it's and that requires getting into character for me.
Right.
It's important that I do a good job and we play well together as a band. So that's something I take seriously and not the opposite of that.
Lackadaisically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and people don't always understand that either. I mean, it's great when you're in the green room or the backstage. No one sees that, but I dealt with it, and Sonny Mormon was like that, very, very intense, and he really wanted a great sound check, a long sound check,
Yeah.
and he was so loose after the show. It was two different people.
Well, that's right.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's a different time when you're, as Sam's kind of mentioning, it's like when you're going to perform, and that doesn't matter where it is. It could be a corner little dive bar. Like they're all important. The size of the place doesn't change its importance, and it doesn't change that you want to give something tight. You want to give it all. I think to whoever is there.
Right.
Um, for us, that means like you're there to perform. Like let's be focused on that and let's really do it.
Right. And what about the rest of your band? Let's talk about them for a second. Who's going to be with you that night? And
Okay, that night we're definitely gonna have Emily Burgess, and we will have Marcus Brown, longtime drummer with us, that we've done a Ronnie tribute with before. Both those two.
right.
And that's going to be that. It's the same four piece that we had at the
Okay. Right.
Battlefield. Yeah, we could talk about them, but just a little bit.
No, that's fine. I was
No,
we
I'm
wanted
just kidding.
no, we wanted to know who's going to be there, and no, it's a great band. You guys are so much fun together for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
we've certainly done many years, many gigs with that particular group. And it's a lot of things don't have to be verbalized. When you get to that sort of point, you can communicate just musically, which is it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
But once you do, there's a certain kind of magic that lies there.
yeah,
We've been blessed. Of course, we've been blessed meeting Ronnie and all the names we've been talking about. We've also really been blessed with awesome band members through the years, people that we've just happen to be in the same place at the same time and meet these people and then be able to play together and make music together all through. And certainly Emily and Marcus are two of those. Like they're great.
is there there has to be a difference between working with a sibling and working with another band member. Uh, is there an added connection? Is there some sort of uh, feeling that you don't get from other musicians that maybe takes a lot longer?
It's in the blood. I think
Well,
that that's just a natural thing. Like we've always done it together.
Yeah, it's don't have anything to compare it to. So when you've been doing it for since I was 8 years old,
right.
again, certain things are understood and communicated, not necessarily verbally.
Yeah, we have powerful looks we give each other
I bet you do.
that say a lot.
Yeah.
But enough time with other members, they become family too, and
Right.
it becomes like that to a degree as well.
And we mentioned the band and we mentioned, some of the collaborations and people you've played with. Who would you like to play with that you haven't had the chance yet?
Hmm. Hmm. You got an answer for that? You got a thought on that?
Nothing specific. Give me anybody. I
Oh,
enjoy playing and learning from everybody. That's a real important thing I find. Every time you pick up your instrument, whatever it be, try to learn something. And you can really learn from anybody if you just approach it that way.
right,
And I like all kinds of music, all kinds of different things. So it's all just a learning experience. So
right.
whoever.
And you
I would
mentioned,
say playing with our group is really what I would want to do, because you have that time and that history together, and that's where you can keep discovering new things within that. And it harkens back to Ronnie and his playing tight thing. When you have that developed, you just want to keep at that. But anybody that you meet and get to play with is all cool.
right. And you mentioned the instruments and when you started out choosing them. Now the stand-up bass has been a big part of your shows. The percussive element that you bring into that, is that something you consciously make sure is always there?
That's our most popular member, is
It
the upright. Uh,
By
it
far and away.
by far, it's the best looking one of us. Uh, is it? Can you ask that again? Is it a
uh,
conscious choice to bring it every time?
do you make sure that it's there always?
For the most part, yes. Sometimes it depends, like, because it's so big, and depending what all gear you got to bring, there's the odd gig where maybe it won't be there, and I'll stick
Right.
to electric bass or I'll play keys. But for the most part, she comes with us.
It's a big part of what we do and just
Yeah.
always has been. Like in particular for a Ronnie Hawkins tribute, gotta have the upright bass.
Oh, that was
Gotta
like
do it.
Ronnie's favorite sound. One of his favorite sounds was slap upright bass. And when we first met him, I didn't have one, and I was playing electric bass, and he was always like, "Oh, baby, that upright bass. Got to get that upright bass, baby." And then finally, I got one, and I could kind of play a little bit. And he's like, "Okay, that's great, but you got to triple slap that thing." So then it was a quest to learn to do that, because that's the sound he really liked. And a lot of '50s recordings where we didn't know this until we had one. You think there's a drum set in there, but it's not. It's the bass covering the sort of the drums and the bass. And so Ronnie was huge on that.
Yeah. Well, I can't even imagine playing that. It looks so different than, the electric, and
Yes,
I imagine it's a whole new animal for you.
definitely is.
Very physically demanding. I found even when I just pick it up and mess around a little bit, it's such a physical thing that you have to go through. But that's where that magic sound is.
Right.
You have to damage your hands to
Yeah.
play it properly. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't even imagine, but yeah, it's definitely a huge part of what you guys do. And there's a lot of sweat in there and work, and I'm sure there's a bunch of joy too. And I know you have to pay the bills. So, of writing, performing, and studio work, if they all paid the same, what would you prefer to be doing?
Hmm. I look at them all as a package. I there certainly, as you said, there's a lot of joy in it. Um, some of the most rewarding joy in it, and every one of those avenues has that. There's great joy in recording. There's great joy in playing live. It's a matter of kind of what you focus on. You could focus on the hardship of it, or you can focus on the joy that comes out of it. And so
Right.
I didn't answer your question at all there, but
No, I think you did. Yeah.
I just don't know if I don't have a preference really. They're all just different facets of the same wheel, and they're all enjoyable. And it just sort of works out if you have a long run out on the road of playing live. You might be a little burned out, so it's like, all right, let's hunker down and maybe do some recordings at home.
Right.
And
Right.
then same thing when you're done that project, then it's time to go perform some more.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love the whole thing. I love traveling to the gig. One of my favorite places to be really is after the gig, heading back to wherever you're going next. If you're heading back home or you're heading to the next place, getting the car heat on and just rolling down. That's one of my rolling down the road. That's one of my favorite places to
Oh,
be.
oh, nice, nice. So speaking of recording, what's the idea behind the Water Street trilogy?
Oh, good question.
So
We don't know.
that was during the COVID years. So weren't really playing, couldn't play live anywhere, but we had this huge backlog of songs that had yet to be recorded. So a friend of ours, James McKenty, who produced it, he rented this old schoolhouse out in Gore's Landing, Ontario, and we just went out there for I think just one full day and just live off the floor played every song that we had. And then we had time once we got the tapes back, had plenty of time because you couldn't play anywhere to sift through them and, massage them and make them into an album or three albums. And yeah, I just like it really turned out as a sort of a live band type recording because that's really what it was. Not too many bells and whistles, just the five of us in a room playing the music.
And it became, the whole thing is a tribute to Ronnie as well, because it is really the styles that Ronnie really loved. Yeah, it's a tribute to Ronnie, and yeah, like he's saying, you couldn't play out, so it was like you remember during the COVID, there'd be those windows where it's like, okay, you can gather in a group of 10, or you can gather in a group of 5, and so with James there was 6 or 7 of us in total, so we could do it legally, and it was just we hadn't been able to play for months and months and months, so it was like, well, let's just play like we were doing a gig and hit record.
Right? Any chance it'll be packaged in one package at some point?
That would be cool, there's always a chance.
Well, you guys have done some unique stuff besides that. You did that, I still believe, YouTube video, which was great and nicely produced, beautiful, beautiful piece of work.
Oh, thanks.
And then there's the movie, the story of the Weber brothers. You certainly have some unique offerings out there.
Yeah, it's been a good start.
Great
That's
stuff.
a
Yeah.
that's a way to look at it, right? So, what is planned for the future then?
Well, we're working on recordings, which hopefully will be coming out next year. Well, they will be. Um, a new album, that's kind of always in the works, and new shows.
Yeah. Just hope to keep doing a decent job no matter what we're doing. Put our best effort in. That's all anyone can hope for. And just keep enjoying the music.
Yeah, I can't see you guys doing anything different than that. Um, is there
That's
anything funky you haven't tried yet you want to try? I mean, like I mentioned, those videos and the movie,
musically or like just anything.
anything.
There's some funky stuff I would try.
Yeah.
Keep it private.
Okay.
Um, always there's always something up the sleeve. There's always more. That's one of the things I remember about Garth when he came, Garth Hudson, when he came and we played with him. He was really excited and all jazzed up because and I don't know what it was. He never really explained it, but he had discovered this new way to learn stuff.
Hmm.
He was what, like 70 at the time?
Mhm.
So that really just goes, and he's one of those guys that truly, when you're around him or you heard him play, it's like, okay, this guy is genius level. There's no doubt. So if there's anybody that you would think like, okay, well, they've got it figured out.
They got it figured out. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
But he was just looking to learn more.
Right.
And was so jazzed because he'd broken this new thing and he could learn more and more. So it really is like a ever-growing garden, and it's a matter of what seeds you water.
Right.
Well, think about that.
There's
Yeah.
our new T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're almost out of time, so we'll get back to the show for a minute. So that's January 10th. Like I said, it looks like a great venue. That's the Clifford Brewing Company, Hamilton. I've never been there, but I will be there that night for sure.
Nice.
Awesome. Same with us. Never been there.
Never been there. No, it looks very cool. And certainly we need more venues, live venues.
Well, I put out a big thank you to Ron Ferroni and to Alex and Antonori. It's a good friend of ours. They are putting this concert on, and I'm really glad that they are.
Yes.
So major thanks to them for doing it, and it's a chance to pay tribute to Ronnie and to keep his songs in people's ears.
Right, and so we'll tell people who haven't heard about it or would like to go onto your Facebook page and get all the info and a link to buy tickets. Uh,
Yes.
Now, I understand you can't reserve, but you can purchase tickets ahead of time.
Yep.
Yep.
As far as I
Believe
know.
so, yeah.
All right, so thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you.
Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank
And
you, Bob.
you're welcome, and we will see you on January 10th, and hope everything goes well, and certainly we'll have a good time that night.
It's
For
going to
sure,
be
man.
great.
Merry Christmas to you.
You too. Take
And
care.
we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.